Oh, this week on the podcast, you are in for a treat with my guest, Angel Shannon. Angel Shannon is a personal development keynote speaker, board certified nurse practitioner, and founder of Seva Health and the Seva Institute. Angel teaches mid to late career professionals how to get fit and functional for life. I'm joined by Angel today to discuss health, chronic conditions like diabetes and hypertension, supplements, and more. I hope you enjoy the podcast. I am so excited for my guest today, Angel Shannon. Oh my gosh, we're going to have a great conversation. Angel, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for the invitation, Renee. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. I just can't wait to what we're going to talk about because I'm definitely going to take some of your advice up, of course, as well. I always like to start the show by asking our guests about their mental victory vibe celebration. And that's something that you've done for yourself to pour into your own cup. So, Angel, what have you done for yourself lately?
Well, we are less than 24 hours out from my last garden immersion. I am a fierce gardener. In fact, I can just show you the proof is in the pudding. I was out yesterday
Oh my
in my
gosh.
garden collecting all of my harvest for, well, not all of it, but a lot of tomatoes, green peppers, onions, basil. So I'm going to be making some pesto for friends of mine to just give it to them as gifts. So I'm a big time gardener and I spend a lot of time in my garden. So yesterday, that's what I was doing is harvesting my basil so that I could make pesto for my friends.
I think that's great. So I'm a novice gardener. I
hmm
actually started probably May or June,
hmm
really trying to understand what the herbs and things like that, and
hmm
a lot of the mints so I could put them in my tea. But
Absolutely.
I we could definitely have a conversation about that because I really would love to have all of my herbs and stuff in the back and just go out back
Mhm.
and get them. That just makes me so happy.
It does. It makes me happy. I love sharing it. I love drying my herbs and having them for seasonings in the winter. And Renee, we are all novice gardeners because we're always learning. No matter how long you've been gardening, you are always a student because you're always going to learn something new every season. So that's the beauty of it.
Yes, I'm still trying to get cucumbers to come through,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I didn't give up. I keep going. I'm like, okay,
Yep. Don't
that
give
didn't
up.
work. I just got to start again.
That's right. That's right.
I love it. That makes me so happy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
We could talk for hours about
yeah.
gardening. Yes. Yep.
Yes. So, what's your personal empowerment theme song?
Unstoppable by Sia.
All right. I know that song.
I love it. I have a lot of them, but when I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? When I go out on that big stage, what do I like to hear playing? Unstoppable. I love the lyrics, all of it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. My youngest, we were working out together. This was a few years ago.
Mhm.
And my youngest compiled the playlist, and that was one of the songs that was on the playlist. So I
Yeah.
love that song as well.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a great one.
Yeah. I love it. And doesn't it just make you feel good?
It
I mean,
does.
doesn't it just anything that you are doubting or worrying about or what have you, you're like, you know what? I have everything I need right inside of me. I am unstoppable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It does, it does. One of the things I really like to do is music is just very healing for me,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I'll go dance it out in my backyard. I will turn that music on and just start dancing,
Mhm.
and my dog will run around. She's like, "Okay, we having
Here we
one of those
go.
moments, let me get it in
Yeah.
too."
Yeah. All around the world, dancing is seen as therapeutic, as true therapeutic practice. Like people dance all over the world. People even dance at funerals at some parts of the world. So, there's much to be said about the healing power of dance and music and song.
Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
That makes me so happy. So share with us, tell us your backstory.
So, let's say I am the founder and director of Seva Health and the Seva Institute. And our brand mission is to put mindfulness and compassion in action to help people live longer and live better. And for me, when I say in action, it means daily practices, moving from talking about and thinking about to actually doing, right? So, my long and short story is I grew up, my mom had 6 children. I'm the youngest of 6. And I grew up in a very holistic household, very, very health conscious, natural medicine, 6 children. We went to the doctor for physicals and things like that and, routine preventive care. But the day to day was Flintstone vitamins, oatmeal, castor oil, Father John. You had an
Mm.
upset stomach, you were going to take, such and such off the counter. My mother's beauty regimen, even to this day, wheat germ and honey, rose water. I mean, everything that you can think of. I have all of her books, thank goodness, old books on, natural healing. And she really believed in that. She lived it, believed in it. And by extension of that, that's the way we kind of grew up. Not that we didn't trust medicine, but that we knew we had other things that we could count on for our health and well being. And uh, summers I spent at my grandparents'. They lived in rural Georgia, Hawkinsville, which you may not even know the name of the town, but it's rural. 5 acres. We went to their farm, got on Trailways Greyhound bus, all day and half the night, the 6 of us, or sometimes four, depending. And we spent the summers down there. And my grandfather built the house that they lived in. He built the house that my great grandmother lived in. And they lived off of their farm, everything. I mean, we went to a store called Piggly Wiggly where we got, some things, but for the most part, everything was right there on the farm. And so my whole life really has been natural medicine. I really don't have any point in my life that I can point to that I wasn't, either using herbs or weaving certain things into my nutritional practices and my lifestyle. That was the way my grandparents, they lived off of their farm, everything, you know. He fished. My first fish was caught with my grandfather. I learned how to bait a hook from him. And if I close my eyes, I can see that day just as vividly today as it was then, catching that fish and his like eyes lighting up and whatnot. So that is my backstory. And when I went into nursing healthcare, it really was about stepping into like a foreign space. I didn't really understand how you could do healthcare without addressing where people live, what they eat, how they sleep, what wellness practices they have, spiritual practices, all that kind of stuff. To me, it is healthcare.
Mhm.
So my formal training is in New York. I started out working in intensive care unit, moved here to Baltimore, Maryland, worked at some of the largest teaching hospitals, Johns Hopkins, our Crowley Shock Trauma Center. And I really wanted to weave all of that into healthcare, into my clinical practice. And so I did that. I would weave in, when I could in an intensive care unit after people came off the ventilator,
Mm.
I would start talking about, listen, you really need to address the sodium in your diet or the this or the that. So that's pretty much my background. Like I said, I was educated and trained in New York, moved here to Baltimore, Maryland, where the bulk of my career has taken place. Studied at Penn State University, then got my graduate study done at University of Maryland School of Nursing. And then I've done just about everything. Community health, public health, uh, my goodness, I've taught, I've worked at insurances, companies, and things like this, United Healthcare, all that good stuff. And then toward the latter years, decided it was time to start my own clinical practice to bring all of what I know underneath one roof. And that's what I do at Seva Health and the Seva Institute, is bringing all of that knowledge underneath one roof to see patients as well as to teach.
I love that. I love the holistic approach.
Mhm,
And I also love like that you grew up that way on the farm doing different things like that.
mhm,
I didn't, of course, I was a city girl, but
mhm,
I love the idea of being on the farm and all of
mhm.
the things that you were exposed to.
Yeah.
My grandfather, though we were in the city, still went out to rural areas to hunt.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, they still had
Yeah.
a garden in the backyard,
Mhm.
from Ware, Mississippi. So
Yeah.
just having that, it
Mhm.
warms my heart to hear, makes me think about my grandparents.
Yes.
Really does, makes
Thank
me think
you.
about both of them.
They are phenomenal people. The people from that generation, their wisdom, honest to goodness, if you've got an elder person from that generation in your life, your listeners, audience, tap into that wisdom. They don't make them like that anymore.
Mm, that just makes me so happy. Help
Yeah.
us understand what's the difference between alternative medicine, integrative medicine, and lifestyle medicine?
That is such a great question. So, as a clinician, the decision is always how we're going to diagnose and how we're going to treat. How we're going to diagnose, how we're going to treat, right? Allopathic medicine, what we know here in the West, is science based, right? It's always science based. Allopathic is we're going to use the best science we have to both diagnose and treat within the realm of clinical study, clinical evidence, facts that we can prove by x ray, by biopsy, by drug testing, by data analysis, all that kind of thing. That's really allopathic medicine. We call it, some people will say, oh, traditional medicine. That's not traditional medicine, it's allopathic medicine, right? You go to the doctor, put on your blood pressure cuff, take your blood pressure, it's elevated, you get a medicine, you come back in 3 months, check everything up. That's allopathic. Alternative medicine is exactly what it sounds like. What is the alternative to treatment with medication? Okay, so I'm going to look for alternative. So alternative is you're not going to treat within the realm of what is science-based or allopathic. It is completely alternative. So let's just say someone has a diagnosis of high blood pressure. You're deciding you're going to maybe use homeopathic remedies or things like this. That's alternative. Integrative medicine, on the other hand, is integrating the best of Western medicine with the best of maybe what you would say Eastern traditions or
Okay.
African traditions. So you're not discounting allopathic treatment, but you are integrating other treatment modalities. So let's just say someone has that same diagnosis of high blood pressure. You're not going to say, I'm not going to give this person a pill. What you might say is, you know what, I'm going to put this person on a low dose medication, but we're also going to address diet. We're also going to address their sleep habits. And we will incorporate other modalities like yoga therapy that we know is helpful for, reducing stress, for helping with sleep, all that kind of thing. So you're integrating, you're weaving these different sciences together to create a treatment plan that is more whole person oriented. Okay. Lifestyle medicine is really just a subset of integrative medicine, but it's based on 6 core pillars. And those core pillars, I even bought my little chart, is a whole food plant based diet or plant predominant diet, let's just say. Um, Physical activity, restorative sleep, stress management, avoidance of risky substances, and positive social interactions. So, lifestyle medicine is really focused on lifestyle, right? So, it may incorporate yoga and all these other things, but the whole focus of lifestyle medicine is to address lifestyle and weave that into the treatment plan. So it's all about what the treatment plan is going to be. Allopathic is strictly allopathic for the most part. Integrative is weaving these other modalities like Tai Chi, yoga, aromatherapy, um, exercise, all that kind of stuff together. And then lifestyle medicine is really 100% or 90% focusing on disease prevention.
So I love how you described each one.
Mhm.
Can you just give us like what is the most important part of our health? Like which one should we focus on?
Mental health. Mental health. Stress management, stress reduction, number one. Because you know what? When you feel better, you do
Mhm.
better.
Yeah.
When you feel better, you do better. Whether it is checking your blood sugar for diabetes, blood pressure control, losing weight. Who wants to talk about exercising and going to the gym and getting a physical trainer if you're depressed? You're not going to do it. You can have the best equipment, you can have the best personal trainer, you can invest in all these protein supplements, this, that, and the other. But if you are depressed, it's not going to happen. So, mental health, focusing on brain and cognitive well being. When we say mental health, a lot of us think of depression, anxiety,
Yeah.
depression, anxiety. Mental health is brain health. So, that incorporates sleep. Are you even getting to bed at night? Or are you going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, right back up at 6? You are not going to function properly with 4 hours of sleep. Please don't tell me, oh, that's what I always did. Because guess what? Just because you always do something doesn't mean it was always the right thing to do. Your body needs rest. Your brain needs to rest. So when we talk about mental health, I really want people to start thinking about brain health. And that includes sleep, rest, refreshment, renewal, and all of those other things of depression, anxiety, attention deficit disorder, and all that other stuff.
I'm glad you brought that up because this is one of the first episodes. This is actually the first episode for the September edition,
Oh,
which is value.
mhm,
And it is really geared toward helping entrepreneurs as well to talk about different experiences for them. As
mhm,
a solopreneur, as an entrepreneur, and you are the only one, your team is small and you have so many tasks
mhm.
that you need to complete, how can they prioritize their health?
You absolutely have to know that is the reason why your health has to be your number one priority because you are the only one. You don't have the luxury of VC funded, of $10 million from a VC, funder just sitting in the bank. And saying, okay, I've got the funds or such and such. You don't have a massive team. You don't have a marketing department and a, finance department. It all rests on you. And because of that, you need to be able to come with your A game every single day. The only way you can be on your A game is to prioritize your well being by choosing one thing. You know what? One thing. Every night, I'm going to go to bed at a decent hour. I'm going to shut this computer off at 9 p.m. I'm going to know that tomorrow is another day and I'm going to get some rest and some sleep. Because ask yourself, get a little journal, start a journal. I'm a fierce believer in journal practice. How do you feel when you're not rested? What do you get done? Really, what do you get done when you are not rested? Absolutely nothing. What kind of decisions do you make when you are irritable and unrested? In my health coaching, as that's part of the work that I do, I use a program called Positive Intelligence. It is one of the best books I've ever read on mindset mastery and self sabotage. A lot of us are guilty of one thing, and that is self sabotage. Why? Because all of us, your mind can be your best friend, but it also can be your worst enemy.
Mm.
It can be your worst enemy. And so getting underneath those self sabotaging habits, and I am the first person, there are days, oh, I can't do this. Oh gosh, no one opened my newsletter. Look at that. I did all that work on that social media post and I've got no likes or whatever. We have to prioritize our own well-being, the rest and recovery that can get up the next day and say, you know what? I put that post up for me. I put that post up for my business. I don't care if anyone doesn't like it or share it or sign up or whatever. I did my best for today and I can let that be enough. Right? So getting underneath those mindsets through rest and recovery are crucial, especially for the solopreneur.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is that they need to be accountable for the to themselves and
Yes,
rest.
yes, yes. And that's where mindfulness comes in, being aware, because mindfulness is awareness. That's
Mm.
what it is. It's awareness. You can do so many things when you become aware of the way your own mind works, your patterns, your habits. What do I do when I have that afternoon energy crash? you know, next thing you know, I
I think
have,
it's important to talk about. It's important to say because um, as an entrepreneur, I find myself sometimes I'm a 13-hour day
yeah.
and you go really hard for several days
Mm-hmm.
and you hit a wall. And
Mm-hmm.
so your body lets you know.
Yes. You
It
had a
lets,
wall.
yes,
You
it
hit a
lets you
wall.
know. And when I hit that wall, I literally said to my youngest, I'm going to bed
Yeah.
because my body needs rest. You
Yeah.
need to do that right now, then, mom. Go do it
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
and I'm so glad to hear you say that because I do understand the dream
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely identify
Mm-hmm.
with
Yes.
chasing the dream.
Yes.
But we get tired and we definitely need to rest.
Yes. We need the rest before we get tired. We
Yes.
need the rest before we hit the wall. It's just like your car. Let me say this, if you bought a 60, $70,000 car and they told you do not let this gas tank get down to this much, because when you do, you're going to dredge up all that stuff on the bottom of the tank, right? You're going to be running on fumes. It's going to choke the engine. Now, this is a $60,000 vehicle, $70,000 vehicle. The number one thing you're going to do, you're going to look at that gas hand every day and say, I better get to the gas station, because I'm
That
not
is so
about to
true.
wind up in that dealership with $2,000 worth of repairs.
That
Your
is
body
so
is
true.
worth more than that $60,000 vehicle.
I love that. I love the example because that'll resonate with a lot of folks.
Yeah.
It resonated with me.
Yes. You are
It
worth
resonates
that.
with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to talk about health conditions and chronic conditions and stress. I
Mhm.
always say on my podcast that stress is the number one cause of chronic disease because we put such a toll on our bodies.
Mhm.
So if someone was newly diagnosed with diabetes or hypertension or a similar condition, what are some of the most important questions to ask or tests to have done?
Okay. Questions to ask. You mentioned the word accountability. Doctor, nurse practitioner, whoever it is, what do I need to change? What do I need to stop doing? You have to understand this is your health. As much as we know that there are disparities in treatment and all the, racism, all these other kinds of things, at the end of the day, your health is your responsibility. So I like to frame it from the very beginning with my first encounter with patients. I want you to accept the fact that your health is your number one responsibility. Okay. That being said, what do I need to change? I just mentioned about journaling. This is the time I go to bed. This is the time I go to sleep. This is my diet. Okay. Is there anything here that I need to change? Because a lot of the times it's not what we need to do, it's what we need to stop doing. Okay. So
Mhm.
I like to just frame with my patients. Give me a little bit of background as to what your days look like. What do you typically eat? I don't need a whole laundry list of, well, I eat 6 ounces of this, and I don't need that. Just give me what time do you eat? Do you skip meals? That kind of thing. Ask, what do I need to change about my current lifestyle? Start there. Tests that you need to have, there are clinical guidelines for all of these things. You can always, Google clinical guidelines for diabetes, clinical guidelines for hypertension. But even beyond that, what are the most important tests to have done? They are the tests that reflect the risk of death and or disability. What am I talking about? Kidney damage. Hypertension is one of the leading causes of stroke and kidney damage. There are more people on dialysis now because of hypertension that was left unchecked for years. So you say to your doctor, what are the tests I need to get done to make sure my kidneys are okay? Diabetes, the same thing. You see people, diabetes with, on dialysis, having amputations, things like this. This is because the A1C was never checked. The kidney profile was never checked. Liver function was never checked. So you get those tests done that reflect and I want folks to write this down, end organ target damage. End organ target damage. That is kidneys, liver, pancreas, all those things. And those are basic tests. Those are basic standard tests. Now, for those people who want to go the extra mile, there are functional medicine tests. That shows how your body is functioning. So, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the gut microbiome tests. Those are functional medicine tests. You can go to a nutritionist to get your macros and micros tested. Macronutrients, micronutrients. Those are all functional medicine tests. But to start with the very basics, you want to ask, I want to make sure that my kidneys, liver, heart, all those organs are healthy. And any doctor or clinician, nurse practitioner, PA, whatever, worth their salt, will know what that means when you say end organ target damage. If they don't know what that means, you need to be out the door, because any practicing clinician should know in the face of diabetes what end organ damage is. We're talking eyes, kidneys, liver, things like that.
Okay, I have a follow-up question to that. I would be remiss if I didn't ask. For
Mhm,
people of color, is
mhm.
there a distinction between and the I forgot, and
End organ target damage.
yes, or the functional testing that you just mentioned? Because I hear a lot about that.
Mhm,
I wasn't heard, I wasn't seen, no one
mhm,
believed me, and this happened. The
mhm,
outcome was. Is
mhm,
there, if for people of color, is
mhm,
there something additional that they should ask for or be more aware of to educate themselves when they walk in to see their PCP?
mhm. That's a great question. When you walk in and say those words, listen, I have a family history of such and such, or I don't have a family history, and I want to make sure my kidneys, liver, if that clinician doesn't know what you're talking about in 2023, that's a physician you want to get up and walk away from, because these are evidence-based standards.
Okay.
The best thing we have going for us now is this internet. Put right in Google, functional medicine provider near me, nutritionist near me. Call your insurance company and say, you know what, I want to talk to a registered dietitian. They will know too, anyone worth their salt, what these tests are all about. But there is an organization, Institute of Functional Medicine. Go to their website. You can see a list of providers. Go to the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Put it in Google, American College of Lifestyle Medicine, find a provider near you. That's the best thing you can do. Rather than trying to convince your doctor of all this other stuff, there are plenty of clinicians like myself who are already members of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. There are already clinicians who have studied at the Institute of Functional Medicine. So go to those websites and click on the look for a provider near you. American Association of Diabetes Educators, look for a provider near you. Then you don't have to struggle with trying to drag this horse to water. You are already going to providers who have self-identified that this is how they practice. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, and
Mhm,
actually, it's a great lesson as well
mhm,
because that's what we do. We try to explain and explain,
mhm.
and our
Yes.
stress levels increase because we feel like we're not heard. But
Yes.
what you're saying is don't stress.
Yeah,
That just means that that's probably not the clinician for you. Go find
exactly.
a clinician for you.
Exactly. And there are plenty, and usually they will belong to these kinds of associations. Like myself, I'm a member of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. So I already get it. You don't have to come in my office trying to convince me of anything because I've self-identified that way. Same thing with American Association of Diabetes Educators. They are diabetes educators. So by default, they already know that nutrition and stress and mindfulness is an important part of your treatment plan.
I really like that, that you're saying that because we see it a lot,
Mhm.
whether it's a family member or a friend or just someone sharing on social media because
Yes,
it's a lot of talented people. I mean, you can be on TikTok for 3 hours watching
you
talent,
sure can. You sure can.
you know?
And that's another thing that I want to mention too, is that especially in the Black community, and I'm specifically saying the Black community, one of the things we have to do is make sure that we are getting right guidance from people who do know the science, because there's a lot of misinformation out there too. There are a lot of people who do a lot of things that have worked for them, and they're lucky that those things have worked for them, but they're not science based. So you want to stick with someone who really does have the ability to make the science simple for you and make sure that you are operating within safe guidelines. And there are more than enough Black clinicians out here who can do that.
I'm glad that you mentioned that as well, because a lot of people, their provider is, or their clinician is, whoever they follow on TikTok,
Yes,
whoever whose reels
yes,
or whose page they are
yes,
follow on Facebook. So it's very
exactly.
important that you say that.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and I think it needs to be said over and over again.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't say
yeah.
it enough.
Yes.
You can't say it enough.
Can't say it enough, I mean, it's like anything else. I see some people posting accounts about juicing. I'm a big time juicer, but you need to understand fruit juices can send your, blood sugars through the roof, so you need to be mindful. Yes, it's healthy. I just bought a new juicer, so I'm the first one to say juicing is good, but you know, that doesn't mean a container this big full of
Yeah.
pineapple juice, come on, we need to understand.
As I hear you say that, I chuckle because I hear when I was in aromatherapy school before, and it was not how accredited. My instructor would say that all the time: aromatherapy responsibly, and don't be out there just letting everybody tell you how to do it. Everyone is going to try it, but that don't mean
Yes,
they should.
exactly,
So it
exactly.
makes me laugh because I hear her voice in my head. She
Mhm,
would say that in every class,
mhm.
every assignment,
Yes,
aromatherapy responsibly.
responsibly. Yes.
So when I hear you, I'm like, "Oh, man, I can hear Jen right now." I heard her.
Yeah, and she's so right. Plants are medicines. They are medicine. You're
Mhm.
not just gonna take this and, "Oh, I heard I can put this on my gums." Really? I have a toothache. I'm gonna put really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Know the contraindications of the body.
There you
It's
go.
so funny that I just hear her voice right now.
Mhm.
I hear her voice because
It's the
she
truth.
absolutely says that.
It is the truth. It is the truth. Mhm.
For people who take supplements, what truths should they know? I'm a big supplement person. I do a lot of research.
Mhm.
I don't switch brands because it's on sale. Stick with the right one,
Ooh,
because I've researched it. And if
yep.
it's not there anymore, I'm like, oh, I got to research these new ones. Let me
Yes.
just figure out what's going on. So, but for those that's just like, yeah,
Mhm.
I saw such and such. She was talking about that on, yeah, I saw it in a reel. I'm going to get that.
Yes. Mhm. You ask such great questions. I absolutely love these questions, and it's just knowledge that needs to be out there. Remember that supplements are supplements. The very word supplement means it is a supplement. You cannot out supplement a poor diet, right? So,
Oh,
and I make the assumption that we all have poor diets because, first of all, we don't even know where our food comes from, right? I mean, the
yeah.
little label is on there, but we don't know the quality of the soil, whether it's nutrient poor, nutrient dense. A lot of this stuff, you buy it, it looks so good. You are so excited. You got your
Mhm.
TikTok video, you're going home, you're going to do all the things. One day later, that fruit is spoiled and rotten and got mold on it because it just had enough of that preservative on it to make it last to get home to your house, right? So that should tell you something right there. So remember that supplements are supplements. You said in another important thing, I do my research, okay? Make sure you're supplementing what needs to be supplemented.
Mhm.
Some things you are just fine with. Everyone doesn't have low vitamin D. Everyone doesn't need more magnesium. Make sure that you get those macros and micros tested. I'm a test, don't guess girl. Get the tests done because everyone doesn't need everything. I had someone just reach out. Oh, yeah, I want to, and I know you know adaptogens. I want to do ashwagandha because I heard. Wait a minute, do you have a thyroid condition? Better make sure your thyroid is okay because ashwagandha can be a problem if you have a thyroid issue.
Mhm.
Okay, so everything is not for everybody. Everyone doesn't need it. Get your test done and see where your body stands, number one. Number three, I guess, was what I'm on. You said research. Quality matters.
Mm.
You get what you pay for what you get. When you decide that you want to go get whatever is on sale, switching up and all these other things, you need to know what the quality of that product is. One of the companies and I'm a big believer in quality transparency, okay? What R&D are you doing? Research and development. How many in-house studies are you doing or quality, quality controls are you doing? Where is your stuff manufactured and sourced from? You need to know the source of where your supplements are coming from. And patents. Does this company even hold a patent on what they're selling?
Good one.
You see what I'm saying? You want to
Mhm.
know what tests they do. So look for those quality controls. It's very easy to overdose on things. You need to think about a supplement that you have to take 10 of, you know, 10, 5 in the morning, 5 in the evening, or what have you. It's very easy to overdose on things. So you want to look at what are their dosing standards and things like this. Quality, quality, quality transparency. That is the number one thing you want to look for. You want to see how long have they been in this market to begin with, and what R&D developments do they have studies on their basic website? Do they have studies that they've either participated in, led, or can provide evidence to support this supplement that they manufacture? One of the companies, and I'll just put it out there, that I really, really love and ride hard for is Metagenics. I really love Metagenics because their quality transparency is there. There are a few that I really like, and I lean into professional grade supplements that are available through clinicians because one of the things that they ensure is that the patient or the customer or the client is being properly educated on the use of the particular supplement. So those that are professional grade usually are of better quality because they know we're going to ask about that rigorous testing and those quality controls.
Brings to mind my acupuncturist.
Mhm.
She was the same way. No, I don't want you to go to Walgreens and just pick anything up off the shelf.
That's right.
This is let you go over there and you get that. This is
That's
what I
right.
want you to try
That's
and
right.
come and sit down. It was and let me explain to you what
Exactly.
you're going to do. She was
Exactly.
fantastic. Merle
Yeah.
would explain it everything.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you're not gonna go and
No.
pick that up at the store.
No.
Nope. This
No.
is and that's how I stayed with those supplements
Yeah. Yeah.
because I knew. She sat me
Exactly.
down and explained it, so
Exactly.
makes sense.
And then you can better anticipate what the issues may be. Okay, the first day that you take this, you may experience such and such.
Mhm.
You can do that. You can't do that when you're all over the place with this brand of this, that brand of that. These things have interactions. I mean, you know this from your professional practice of aromatherapy. These things interact. How can I possibly know what's going to happen when you've got two over here, this over there? You're not taking that consistently. Usually, when you stick within, the same brands or one or two of the same brands, you can reasonably predict the outcome or the patient response of a thing.
Okay. Now,
Mhm.
I have to get specific because we gotta talk about our people. We gotta talk about the Black community,
Yeah,
okay? Because
sure.
you know how we like to go and borrow stuff from our girlfriends, from our
Mhm.
auntie, and
Yep.
things like that, and we wanna take it,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Can you please explain to our people how it's not okay to just go and beg, borrow, and steal from auntie, uncle, and your cousin because
You
that
have
just might not
said it.
be for you?
Exactly. You have said it. Okay, so first of all, you don't know what they're taking or why they're taking it. Dosing, you have not gotten any tests done, any labs done, anything like that to prove that you even need this thing. Storage matters. These supplements that you're borrowing, have they been in somebody's hut cabinet? Is it supposed to be refrigerated? What's the expiration date? How long has it been sitting there? How many should you be taking? Yes, this says on the bottle 3, but you'd be surprised. Some people only need 1 of a thing. It's
Mhm.
just like Tylenol. The bottle says you can take up to 2, but Tylenol makes some people sleepy. 2 Tylenol every 4 hours for some people can lead to liver failure. Tylenol is metabolized through the liver. So you need to know the metabolism of these things and what clinical conditions do you have. Don't say, "Oh, I'm good." You're only good when you know you are good. When's the last time you got your kidney function test done to be absolutely certain that you are not in stage 1 or stage 2 kidney failure? Every drug is metabolized through either the kidneys or the liver. And
Mhm.
until you know that that kidneys and liver normal level is normal, you have no business taking anything until you know.
Take
And
care
you
of your
only
liver.
know when you know, not what you think.
That's what I can't even stress it enough. Take care of your kidneys, take care of your liver,
Exactly.
take
No,
care of it.
everything. It's either kidneys or liver. You take Motrin or ibuprofen, that's gonna go through the kidneys. You take
Mhm.
Tylenol, that's gonna go through the liver. They're drug standard. You can Google this all day long. It's called phase 1, phase 2, detoxification through the liver. So you need to know that. And guess what? By the people always say, "Oh, I know I'm good, I know I'm good." How do you know that?
Mhm.
Seriously, how do you know that? People come in, "Oh, I know, because I know nothing wrong." By the time you feel something or by the time it shows up on your labs, there's a long space.
It
You
sure
can
is.
feel fine for a long
Head
time.
and gut connection. And
Yeah,
if your gut health is off, everything else will follow.
exactly, exactly. And
So
so you
I
can
say that to
feel
my kids all the time.
right. I mean, ladies, let's talk to the ladies. You get up, you take your shower, you put on your bra, you never even think about it. You feel fine. Breast cancer doesn't feel like anything in the early stages, right? Until you feel something and you say, mm, by the time you, mm, this thing has gotten to a certain size. Let's just be honest about it. This is why breast exams are so important. So don't go by how you feel because your body is very, very strong. You can feel fine for a long time and not actually be fine.
Angel, oh my gosh. I'm so glad you said it. I'm so glad you said it.
Yeah,
I wish I could scream it from the top of buildings because I worry,
I do
especially
too.
my sisters
Yeah,
who
yeah,
I'm telling you, every corner is a McDonald's or some type of fast food chain,
yeah, yeah,
or I
yeah.
have one sister, great cook. Let me tell you something.
Mhm.
Will take you home, okay, with her soul food cooking.
Mhm.
But I always tell her, stop tasting everything you cook.
Yeah, yeah,
Need to get you another tester.
yes.
And she, but I have to test it. I mean, my sister can cook, will
Yeah.
cook you under the rug, okay? But
I
her
love that.
A1C was
Yeah.
14.
Oh my goodness.
And I said, honey,
Oh
I'm gonna
my
need you to
goodness.
sit it on down. But now it's down to 9. She's doing better.
Yeah.
But I worry about that all the time because let me tell you something. My sister, and let me just put that shameless plug in my podcast, Goodies by Row,
Uh-huh.
can cook,
Yeah.
okay? Will
Yeah.
cook you under the table.
Yeah. That is so funny.
But I worry about her
I bet you
all the
do. I
time.
bet you do. And then that brings to mind when you get those labs done, ask your doctor, what should it be? What is my target? You said 9. What should the target be? For an adult should be under 7.0. So Ro got some ways to go,
Yes,
you
she
know?
do.
Yeah.
Yes, and I know she gonna listen to this episode and she gonna say, "No, she didn't call me out. Let me call her heifer." That's what she says.
I love you, Ro. I only want the best for you and your soul food
But
cooking. I want you
but
to
she
live
can
long.
cook,
Yeah.
okay?
And
And
because
everything is from scratch.
and listen, because of that, because there are so many people who can't cook, that is her wealth. Good health is the first wealth. Ro can write a recipe book and
Mhm.
retire and live in the south of France for the rest of her life if she wanted to. If she is that good of a cook, which I trust she is, Guess what?
Mhm.
Ro ought to be sitting down, writing her cookbook, starting her channel, and guess what? Put
Mhm.
a brand and a trademark on it so she can retire and live her best life wherever in the world she wants to live.
She
Take
started.
care of your health, Ro, so that we can see you over there in the south of France living your best life.
I know that's right. I know that's right. I worry about that all the time. She was an early diagnosed diabetic in her 30s. And
Yeah,
I think about that. And our
yeah.
family, we have our family history. And that's one of the things that we didn't touch on today. And I'd
Mhm,
like to touch on that really quickly
mhm,
before we end.
mhm,
Family history. How important is family history when it comes to to chronic conditions?
mhm,
Is it really high?
mhm.
What is the role there?
Great, great question. A lot of times it goes both ways. A lot of times we'll say, well, everybody in my family is diabetic. Unless there's some genetic testing being done, first you want to ask, what was their lifestyle? We know for many of us, there's really like probably not one African American person here in the United States who can raise their hand and honestly say that they didn't have grandparents who ate too much salt, put some smoked turkey necks in here, boiled those greens to death where they had no nutritional value at all, right? We all have experienced that. So we can't really say all the time that it's genetic, or because lifestyle gets passed down, cooking habits gets passed down. This is the way mama always made these greens at
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, so that's how I'm going to make them. Those things get passed down too, so we can't necessarily say it's genetic until we get some testing done to show that, okay, look, every single person, what have you. So what I always say, share that with your clinician that, listen, this has been predominant in my family. Okay. I don't know if this has been lifestyle or if it's truly genetic, but one thing I do know is I want to reduce my risk of passing this along, or having this condition in my life. And I want to change my lifestyle because I've had a lot of patients. I'm in Baltimore, so I have a lot of Black patients, and I have patients who five other people have such and such, and they're the only one that doesn't. Why? Because they made up their mind. You know what? It's going to stop here with me.
Mhm.
I'm going to run every day. I'm going to get out here and do such and such. There's an organization called girltrek.org, girl, TREK.org. Love this organization. Black women walking together. They are all over the country, and Black women getting together specifically to make walking a lifestyle. Some of them have kicked it up a notch and started running together. There's another organization called Slow AF Run Club. Slow AF, standing for As
Mhm.
Run Club, started by a Black man, African American man that wanted to become a runner. And he was like, man, I'm out here. I'm however many pounds. I am slow AF. But he was like, you know what? I can still run. I may jog. I may walk till I could get up. Started this run club. I can't even tell you how many members this gentleman has in this community. Slow AF Run
Wow.
Club. Check those two out. Girltrek.org, Slow AF Run Club. Black
Yeah.
folks coming together to make this a lifestyle.
I believe in the walk, and I walk every day. It's my
Right.
meditation time,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I walk with my dog and I walk with myself. And it's funny because my neighbors will say, "Where's Rain today?" I was like, "Today I'm walking myself.
The
Rain
water.
stay home."
Yeah. It's good medicine. It's good
Mhm.
medicine. It's the first thing you did when after, 9 months, you started walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Angel, it has been a joy to have you on. I don't know. I got to talk to you some more. Like you got to come back.